Upward is progress. Left and right is status quo. Downward is regression. We have choices to make. Which way, Nigeria? And now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamude Akuga as he charts a pathway to greatness and true nationhood for Nigeria.
Hello out there, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mamude Akuga, and this is Which Way Nigeria. Yes, this is your program that you, of course, talk about Nigeria, which is your country, my country, our country. And this is the program where we try to define a pathway to true nationhood for our great country. This is the Independence Anniversary Celebration, and it's a special edition of Which Way Nigeria. Nigeria at 60, and I'm in the studios with Barrister Frank Cheche. Frank, welcome.
Thank you, and always my pleasure.
Yes, I and Frank, we get together from the FCT to talk about these issues concerning Nigeria from time to time. And Frank, should we consider this an Independence Anniversary edition of Which Way Nigeria?
It's a fitting edition indeed. After all, this program is all about Nigeria. It's about Nigeria and its problems and the solutions that are applicable to it, of course.
Indeed. So at this point in time, we're going to be looking at which way for Nigeria. Nigeria is 60 now, and some Nigerians got together last weekend to put together a symposium, for the next 60 years, or there are about 40 years at least, of Nigeria. Where will Nigeria be in 2060? That was the theme of that symposium. So as we make preparations to advance, to move forward, what are those important things that can affect us as a nation? That's what we are going to be discussing on the program today. And one of those things, because no matter the idea you have for moving a nation forward, one of the most important factors that must come into play is leadership. If you have good ideas, who is that leader that will drive that idea and make it come to fruition? So, Sunday papers, Frank, you saw this day, Sunday, October 4th. The headline of that paper was very clear, and they were talking about the presidency of Nigeria in 2023. And of course, they were bringing in the name of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
Yeah, but interestingly, this is not really coming to me as a surprise, because in one of those times when you were in your elements as a journalist who has paid this price for over 35 years in this industry, watching Nigeria, reporting Nigeria from all corners, you told me in one of our private sessions that this is a possibility. And I never took it seriously.
That was 2019.
Yes, that was last year, specifically, when you said reading the political landscape of Nigeria and the political body language of the players in the Nigerian political field, you thought that yourself that Jonathan, against his wish, would likely emerge
against his wish, very key, against his wish,
as the president of the presidential candidate. We don't know whether it's on the PDP or APC, but this is coming to me as a huge surprise, I must say, a pleasant surprise indeed.
Yes. So this again is so crucial and so important, because you need to have good leadership to drive whatever new ideas that you may have, to move your nation forward. So we're definitely going to talk about that, because it defines a pathway for Nigeria into our future. Selecting the leadership for Nigeria immediately after President Muhammadu Buhari leaves office.
But we have come to see the signs already. We are looking at the front page of this day. Buhari supporters considering Jonathan for 2023 presidential run. So typically, exactly the way you said it to me about a year ago. And I think the contrast between Buhari and Jonathan is now somehow, along with a lot more factors, determining this choice. I don't know, but it's something that is very interesting.
Very, very interesting. And we'll talk about all the issues surrounding a Jonathan presidency for 2023. But Frank, something we must also talk about on the program today as Nigeria celebrates 60 is what kind of system for us as a country are we going to keep on operating? Are we going to keep on operating these, very, very unique type of federation that is, people say it's upside down, where we have this extremely strong center and very weak federating units? Or we are going to have to restructure Nigeria along the path of empowering the federating units so we can have a proper federation?
But interestingly, the independence constitution as we had it in 1960, and then the Republican constitution in 1963, all operated in a manner that gave credence to the federation that Nigeria indeed was at that time. So it was, if not for the military incursion that, and then subsequently the civil war, which has led to the balkanization of the regions, having creation of, and then ultimate creation of 12 states and then 19 states, leading to the weaknesses of those initial region that made up Nigeria. And then Nigeria had it right at the independence as a federation. The Littleton Constitution of 1954 prepared the way for a federal system of government, and then it was culminated in the 1960 Constitution. So I think we need to retrace our steps back, because right now this unitary federalism has not helped us. It's clearly manifest.
So we will take up that issue, and one of the very big personalities, religious circles in Nigeria, Pastor Enoch Adegboye of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, weighed in on this, and Adegboye is telling Nigerians and the Nigerian government that we need to restructure as fast as possible, otherwise Nigeria will break up. And Adegboye says that what's wrong with having a United States of Nigeria?
Well,
fantastic.
It is possible. But let us also acknowledge that this program in the last 1 year has made it a mantra that restructuring and recognition of the fact that there is a need for restructuring of the Nigerian situation now, the political system, in order to be the bedrock of an economic prosperity and the determination of the good living standards of the people. It's something this program has always talked about in the last 1 year.
Without a doubt.
And so I'm not sure Pastor Adeboye will risk to make that kind of statement when he knows that it's not popular. Of course, it's a very popular statement. It's a very popularly held opinion right now that Nigeria needs to make or break.
Yes.
And because we need to make is better than break. People like Adeboye, who is a religious minister, is even, so vociferous about it, quite direct about it.
And, very clear. So, before we go on the program today, of course, Revolution Now, Nigeria at 60, with all that has happened with the Revolution Now, protests in the past, the arrest of Showore and all that, some Nigerians still braved it and came out, on Independence Day to say, look, we are unhappy with our country, Nigeria, and we would wish that Nigeria can be different. And this is looking at the positive side, how Nigeria can make more positive change happen and the country can be better. So we bring you some excerpts from that Revolution Now protest, and we'll talk about, Nigerians who want to say to the government that things are not going well. So we'll look at that. Hopefully, before we go also, talking from, the Revolution Now, we'll also be able to take a look at that President Muhammadu Buhari's Independence Day broadcast. And I just want to take something out of it, where the president, of course, said that what we as Nigerians are buying fuel at the moment is probably the cheapest around. The president made a comparison with Saudi Arabia, which is also an oil-producing country. We will be able to, take a look at that as well, and the comparison by President Muhammadu Buhari on the program today. So, don't go away.
This is Which Way Nigeria.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Which Way Nigeria. My name is Mahmoud Akuga. in our studios with Frank Chiete, who of course joins me regularly on the program. Frank is our Independence Anniversary Celebration edition, for which we're Nigeria, and we are going to begin with some politics moving forward. I think, Frank, that the politics of 2023 has started.
Oh, yes.
It's just the last quarter of 2020, and the politics for 2023 has started, both at the national level and at the state level.
At the local level, too.
Even at the local level. So a lot of permutations, are being put in place. You see states where they've not had local government elections, they are trying to see how they can put those elections in place so that those officers that will be elected will remain in office till 2023 so that they can take effective part in the elections of 2023 in terms of organizing at the local level. Our politicians are very smart, so they do all these calculations and they do some of these things and they put them in place. So you see some of the states now talking about local government elections. Their tenure is supposed to be 3 years. So if they bring them in now, they'll be, or early next year, they'll be around. So they can do a lot in terms of helping out during the election. So apart from that, even at the state level, elections that are ongoing, you saw what happened in Edo State, a lot of it had to do with 2023. You saw a situation where the Jagaban had to make a broadcast to the people of Edo State, asking them to reject Governor Baseki. What did you think that was all about? It was just about APC or politics? Of course, it was about the Presidency of Nigeria in 2023.
Yes, the man needed to exert his influence through the Edo elections, and he went out of his way to do something that was highly unexpected, thinking that the outcome was going to be, influence 2023. If he does intend to become president, as it is widely held in informal circles, that he wants to run for president, then he should be able to exert his influence in APC elections. APC, it does elections like the one in Edo and Ondo.
Yes.
And then he went and did the broadcast. The outcome is something that is debatable. It shows that the almighty Jagaban was to a large extent humiliated by the results and the outcome of the Edo elections.
He needed that situation in Edo State to show that his influence goes beyond Lagos State, to show that his influence goes beyond southwest Nigeria.
Well, but the Edo is not Lagos mantra also.
Yes, the hashtag, Edo no be Lagos.
Yes.
And instead of working in favor of him, it worked against him.
Exactly, because there became a greater resolution. People became more resolute to ensuring that the kind of influence that he wields in southwestern Nigeria, particularly in Lagos, is not replicated in Edo State. And the rest is history as we speak.
So what he wanted to do really was to +1 for his presidential ambition, but as it stands today, it's -1, because that support that he will have gotten from Edo State, of course, will be very, very missing. But you never can say with these politicians. By 2021, you could see some level of cooperation, even between Obaseki and the Jagaban, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So you never can say with politicians.
But the handwriting is quite clear.
Like they say, no permanent friends, no permanent enemies.
But
permanent interests.
The handwriting is quite clear. That within the APC, they don't want the Jagaban to be president. That's the reason why the APC didn't have the kind of cohesion that they should have had in the Edo elections.
It went into that election, a former chairman of the party in Edo State, Governor John Odije Oyegu, a few days just before the election, released a statement, which, from all intents and purposes, was a statement confirming that he did not endorse the APC candidate. And then even at the national level, the acting chairman also released a statement which asked the people of Edo State to go out and vote their conscience. So it was clear that the APC structure did not really support the Jagaban. But talking about the 2023 election, for which we say already the politics has started, at the highest office of the land, the office of President, Frank, we are seeing that now From This Day newspaper, the headline on Sunday, October 4th, 2020, Buhari's supporters considering Jonathan for presidential elections in 2023.
Like I said in the intro, if I hadn't known you a bit more closely, I would have thought that you were part of the persons who wrote the agenda for Jonathan to return in 2023.
No, Frank, I'm not involved in politics.
But because you did mention it in clear terms that from the look of things, from the Buhari presidency, from the way and manner the former President Jonathan has been in quite some form of cooperative working with the Buhari presidency, especially representing Buhari in international missions, not only to Mali but some other missions, and then with kind of support and the camaraderie that exists between the two of them, that is Buhari and Jonathan, and then also considering the fact that if the North intends to get back to power so quickly after a Buhari presidency, the best route will be to support Jonathan. But you also mentioned so quickly, because I need to give this credit to you, and I still wonder how you are able to mathematically, with such mathematical accuracy, to predict that this is a possibility, and we can now see that it's taking root. Now what matters is that whether or not Jonathan himself is interested, and that is something that I doubt.
No, but you can see from the body language of Goodluck Jonathan that he's not interested. I think that on two different occasions, he has released statements, from his media handler, saying very clearly that he's not interested in contesting elections to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I think that, judging from who Goodluck Jonathan is, I think that he would just want to, live in his retirement in peace and quiet. He's already very engaged in international, advocacy. He's been used for settlement of disputes in foreign countries. Has become some kind of special envoy, both to the Nigerian government, both to international organizations. So I think left alone, he would just have preferred to hold that back seat and do things that he can help with. But the configuration of the Nigerian project places Jonathan at a very, very key and crucial point that he will have to sacrifice his retirement in peace and quiet to be able to satisfy the permutations within the Nigerian project. Frank, I've always told you that the people who control Nigeria, they are not many, and when I say this, a lot of people, at times, don't take me seriously. They sit down and decide, okay, so what are we going to do next? Who wants to be president now? And they say, oh, this man wants to be president, this man wants to be president, this man wants to be president. And these guys just say to themselves, who does that man think he is to become president? Does he think that the presidency of Nigeria is for sale? Frank, the presidency of Nigeria has never been for sale. That's why Obasanjo was brought out from prison to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's why Umaru Yar'Adua, who had gone back to his institution to fill forms to go back as a lecturer, was brought back to be president of Nigeria. That is why a Goodluck Jonathan, who had won as governor of Bayelsa State, was brought, even before he resumed as governor, to become vice president of Nigeria.
And we must also quickly say that's why MKO Abiola, who won a popular...
Who had all the money.
And had all the money and won a popular election...
Could not become president.
Also become president.
And you could also,
clearly, there is an amorphous group.
Yes.
It's difficult to place any pointer to any particular member of that group. But I do agree that there seems to be that amorphous, that unseen hand that determines... who becomes president and who does not become. But I'm also quickly add that in that case, we don't know whether those group of persons or that unseen hand are, I would say, both the unseen hand and the group of persons are working in the interest of Nigeria. We can't say for certain.
No, they are not exactly working in the interest of Nigeria, Frank. They are more working in their own interests. as it were. And it is the body language of this group that I read that I was able to predict that, look, there will be pressure on Goodluck Jonathan to come back and run.
But I think that this comes with some form of positive pressure, because there now has a reference point in terms of contrasting the Jonathan presidency with the Buhari presidency.
Indeed.
Many Nigerians who have suffered a lot in terms of failed promises and high expectations which were not met would probably prefer a Jonathan who has some experience to learn from, an experience of failure or success, and then hoping not to repeat the same mistakes. They were clear in the report.
Yes, but Frank, I can tell you that these are secondary considerations. These considerations you are talking about, Jonathan has learned his lessons as, president, the mistakes he made and all that. These are very secondary. There is, of course, a situation within the Nigerian Federation where you see that the Fulani ethnic nationality, they understand the politics of Nigeria much better than any other group. And they have always played themselves to the front burner. Recall that, immediately after Buhari won the elections, there was talk of, the possibility of another Fulani taking over from President Muhammadu Buhari. Of course, immediately that attracted so much reaction from across the country. And, people who had zoning in their political parties before now say, look, in 2023, anybody can contest. It doesn't matter who. And the North was already saying, look, they were going to come back to power in 2023. Now, the kind of reaction that came from different ethnic groups across the country gave a clear message that that can be a recipe for chaos. Yes. So the Fulani class, they are very mindful of that. And in their thinking, what will be the best possible way to get back to power as fast as possible? Goodluck Ebele Jonathan provides that route. Jonathan has been president one term. Even if he comes back now, he can only serve a 4-year one term. Now, in the calculation of those who want to hold on to power as much as possible, a Jonathan presidency will mean that, for instance, after a Fulani, Muhammadu Buhari has ruled for 8 years, Goodluck Jonathan comes in, he's going to just be there for 4 years, and then they can come back again. Because after that, they will say, the power has to go back to the north. And so the Fulani class, ruling class, can come back again for another 8 years. That is the highest consideration in this matter. Of course, there are other secondary considerations, like Jonathan is harmless. He favors the North. He built a lot of Amajiri schools and all that. So they see him as somebody, even if a Fulani is not there, he will still do things to benefit the Fulani, ethnic nationality.
But we are talking about the Buhari political machinery springing up Jonathan for 2023. I think that will be very hard for Jonathan to resist. We're talking about moving the president, the cubential powers of the presidency to support Jonathan. I think Jonathan it will be very difficult for Jonathan to reject that kind of offer.
I think that this matter is almost at the stage where you can almost say that it is a done deal.
Yes, I think so.
Yes, I think so because of course, you can experience the very cordial, warm relationship that exists between Muhammadu Buhari and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
To the surprise of many.
To the surprise of so many people.
Yes.
Up to a point that he has even appointed him as a special envoy to go and take care of the crisis in Mali.
Yes.
In Mali. Do not also forget that the issues in Mali surrounding the crisis there and the governance also have to do with a lot with the Fulani ethnic nationality there in Mali.
Yes.
So for the president to have entrusted Goodluck Jonathan to go over there and resolve the crisis means that they consider him a friend.
Yes.
They consider him a friend. So, and then I can tell you also, look, Frank, the way Nigeria works, you would notice that in recent times, in the last couple of months, you will notice that the issue of and the crisis of corruption that the former first lady patience Jonathan had with EFCC and all that, left, right. Frank, when was the last time you saw any of that in the media?
All of those seem to have been dropped, and no mention, not even a mention of any of those corruption and related
I
issues
am thinking, Frank,
against the former First Lady.
Yes.
No harassment whatsoever, no mention,
all
despite
that,
all of the gusto with which Magu had begun
yes,
to accuse the DAFA and then to move against the forfeiture of the certain monies belonging to the former First Lady. All of those things have become very silent.
I'm telling you, Frank, because I think that those must have come as part of the deal. Well, that is my, reading of the situation.
In that case,
I may be wrong, but that's my reading.
It comes with mixed feeling. However, I think many people will welcome the Jonathan presidency for 2020.
Across the country.
Yes, many people. Because Jonathan seemed to be a man who was harmless and also a victim of circumstances, in the sense that he had problems that he didn't create, and many people created problems for him that he trusted that he shouldn't have been. So many Nigerians will see him coming with a second opportunity to correct things, and then let us see whether the North will give him the needed cooperation that he didn't have in the first tenure. Yes. I hope Nigeria gets better for it.
No, but I think that Nigeria will get better for it because, Frank, you can't take away the fact that, of course, Goodluck Jonathan is likely to be a much better president. When you serve as president, you take a back seat, you are better able to appreciate your mistakes a lot better. And see those things. Oh, how I wish I had the time to do this. Oh, how I wish I had done this. It's a unique opportunity for Goodluck Jonathan. But that is not to say that it will merely translate to some kind of progress for Nigeria. After all, we have seen Buhari second time around.
We've also seen Obasanjo.
We also saw Obasanjo second time around.
We are seeing second timers as president.
Yeah, so it will not be really new if Jonathan were to come a second time. He will not be the first Nigerian president to come back to power, but he will be the first to come back to power as a democratically elected president.
And I think that's significant because
very significant.
We're talking about two military heads of state yes, who came back as civilian presidents, and then found that the system was very much different from when they were military heads of state, and they also applied some of those military tactics to a garrison form of politics in their manners in the manner with which they dealt with the civil populace. I think we should expect something different from a civilian president returning as a civilian president,
as second time. But this will be fantastic for the people of the Niger Delta. Who of course believe that they didn't get their full term of 8 years. And
Jonathan himself did express that there were quite a number of things that he thought he should have done for the Niger Delta towards the end of his tenure. He thought he was actually going to get the second tenure. He didn't see the possibility of being displaced. And he didn't do those things. Bridges that he could have constructed, contracts that he could have awarded, many things that he would have done for the Niger Delta. He didn't do it. And the Niger Deltans, wallowed in regrets when he didn't come back in 2015, thinking that it was more or less like a wasted opportunity. So Niger Deltans will be excited if a Goodluck Jonathan is coming back. For me personally, I would urge Goodluck Jonathan to take the gauntlet. He should actually take up the challenge and accept to run. Nigerians will support him. He's internationally respected at this moment. He's nationally acclaimed as someone who does not want trouble.
A true Democrat.
Yes, and who will attract the kind of support for the presidency that will possibly unite this country. Jonathan will offer much more positive things for the presidency. Nigeria is troubled right now. The presidency is troubled.
Very.
Jonathan has a panacea to his person. The fact that he carries a name that...
and he's a man of peace.
Yes, he carries a name that is synonymous with being lucky. Good luck.
Yes, a man of peace. But what the Niger Delta people might likely lose is a chance to have an 8-year reign in power. But, a bird in hand, what... a million in the bush, like some people will say. The presidency is supposed to come to the South. There's the talk of the Southwest wanting it, which a lot of people will feel that it would be unreasonable because they already had 8 years. The Niger Delta had 1 term. The Southeast has never had it. So within the South, the Niger Delta would want to complete its tenure, and then the Southeast and Igbo presidency, of course, will be necessary. Now, in that calculation, Frank, there is one man that will have made everybody very comfortable, because the far north and southwest are still a little bit uncomfortable in giving the presidency of Nigeria to the core southeast. And when I say core southeast, Igbos. So for those people, there is an alternative solution that will have made them a little more comfortable. Now, the Niger Delta that is saying we've not had our complete tenure will have also had its own tenure. Now, of course, you must have heard of the presidency, the candidacy, and of course the ambition of Rotimi Amechi. Rotimi Amechi, former governor of Rivers State, two-time governor, two-time minister of transportation, two-time speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, is one person that already, is being propped up as a possible presidential candidate for 2023. Now that will be good for the people of the Niger Delta, because it will give them another shot at governance. And for the Southeast, that the presidency hasn't gotten to yet, there are people who are sympathetic to that cause, who want a Southeasterner, but they are still a little bit scared. Amechi is somewhere in between. He's a Niger Deltan, but he's of the Ikwere stock, which is, the Ikwere people are part of the Igbo people of Nigeria. You can't deny that. So they are part of Ohaneze and Igbo. So, you can't get any more Igbo than Amechi or Chibike. So the fact that it is from the South will matter very, very little in terms of consideration. So it will have been an Igbo presidency, a Niger Delta presidency, and the Southern presidency, perhaps. And the Southern presidency,
Interestingly, we are talking about Jonathan possibly becoming president in 2023 today, because a Buhari presidency and its political machinery are supporting that notion. This day headline carries the fact that that is Buhari's presidency. All the arsenal of Buhari, the people that made Buhari president, they have now decided that they want Goodluck Jonathan to be president. So we never can tell when Goodluck Jonathan, if eventually all of this comes to fruition, that he accepts, he does a national campaign and he wins. There is also a very strong possibility that the machinery that brought Goodluck Jonathan into power will decide otherwise when we get to the bridge. Yes. Because clearly, when you put this in a political scale, a Jonathan presidency versus an Amechi presidency that is going to possibly give us an 8-year tenure that perhaps will never come to be, compared to a certain 4 years that Jonathan can bring. I think the Niger Deltans and maybe Southerners will prefer a Jonathan presidency. After all, what will become of Nigeria? What will become of constitutional amendment after 4 years? What will become of the desires of the North?
Nobody knows.
It is, like they say, the proverbial bird in hand would be worth more than two in the bush.
Indeed. Well, at this point in time, we need to take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are watching and listening at the same time to Which Way Nigeria. My name is Mahmoud Akuga, in the studios with Barrister Frank Tietie, and we're talking about those important things that, will affect our march to progress as a nation. We're going to take a short break now, musical break. This time we're bringing you the music of Sonny Okosun, and this is part of our 60th Independence Anniversary celebration. The song is $1 Million Question, Which Way Nigeria, which is indeed the title of our program. Don't go away.
Many years after independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Tell me. Which way to go? Yes, I want to know.
Which way Nigeria?
is Which Way Nigeria.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yes, this is Which Way Nigeria. And we've been talking about Nigeria and the way forward for our country. We're going to talk now about restructuring. In these independence anniversary celebrations, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, together with the Nehemiah Leadership Institute, put together a symposium which they titled Nigeria in 2060. That's 40 years from now, which of course will make Nigeria 100 at that time. For some people, they would say, look, looking ahead at next 40 years may be too far. In Nigeria, we have always looked at the future, but never really done anything about the future. Frank, at one point in time in this country, it was health for all by the year 2000. Water for all by the year 2000. Everything by the year 2000. And it's impossible for me to believe now that it's 2020, 20 years after, and nothing seemed to have really changed.
Before then, it was 1990. The military used 1990. Everything. They were
1990.
Give us everything.
Yes.
Nigeria was going to become an El Dorado in 1990. And then in 1990, things changed, and then they started hyping 2000. Then in 2000, as we were approaching 2000, when we found out that it was becoming a mirage, then we started, the new hype came, which is 2020.
Yes.
And it is in 2020, we are now in 2020, and it seems as if 2010 was better than 2020, 2000 was better than 2020. So it seems as if we are longing for those days.
Yes.
When people are talking about what will Nigeria be in 2060, is because what we were in 1960 was I don't know how much we have achieved between 1960 to date. It seems as if Nigeria clearly lost opportunities of various times of oil windfall, lost opportunities of a committed and united populace at the time, which is no longer. We're more divisive than we were at any time in our history. So it's important that when people put together what Nigeria will be, put together a program of what Nigeria will be in 2060, is because they are coming from a standpoint of regret, standpoint of lost opportunities, and they are wondering that would we continue in this cycle of losing opportunities and making motion without any progress.
Without any
yes. I think that's where the problem is.
But the issue really at that symposium was about restructuring Nigeria, and the leader of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adegboye, said very clearly, you have to restructure Nigeria quickly, else it will break up. And he talked about a United States of Nigeria. Let's listen to Pastor Enoch Adegboye.
When we begin to talk about Nigeria in the year 2060, the first question that a mathematician will want to ask is, one, are we sure there will be Nigeria in the year 2060? For example, have a system of government that will create a kind of what I will call United States of Nigeria. We all know that we must restructure. It's either we restructure or we break. That means you don't have to be a prophet to know that one.
Yes, Pastor Adegboye, they're making it very clear that we either restructure now or Nigeria will break up. But already I can tell you, Frank, that the ROI Consultative Forum is already saying that all those who are talking about, restructuring Nigeria are indeed insulting the North, the northern part of Nigeria. And they say they don't understand what people mean when they talk about restructuring, that the restructuring means different things to different people. For people in the Southwest, it may mean fiscal federalism. For people in the South-South, it may mean resource control. For people in the Southeast, it may mean something completely different,
The present political configuration of this country favors Northern Nigeria. And to that extent, where the rest of Nigeria watches to see that Nigeria hasn't made the needed progress. And that the political configuration has it has been akin to political strangulation in terms of economic progress and social stability for the country. Indeed. So it's understandable when the North says it wants the status quo to remain because it is able to swing decisions and law making laws at the National Assembly, and then also uses its configured political structure to determine who becomes the president, and in so many other political decisions for that matter. But it need not mean, when they say Nigeria will break, does not necessarily. Nigerians have experienced a civil war, and they are not very much in a hurry to create any form of political conflict that will lead to loss of life. However, the North must consider it as a warning where the rest of the country begins to say Nigeria will break if certain things don't happen, because we are not making progress. Nigerians are fleeing this country by the day. Many Nigerians who will have any opportunity will want to leave. They want to abandon this country.
Indeed.
They don't believe in this country. This country is not, offering the proper, opportunities to its young persons. And at the same time, we see a reign of corruption which does not allow governance to deliver the dividends of, a properly organized state to the people. So it's becoming a failed state. It may not break violently, but it may ultimately implode and fail hopelessly if we don't make progress and continue to wallow in this kind of structure that does not make for the best to come up. We don't have merit, and it does not allow us to harness the best that we have for the progress of the common man.
Yes, but Frank, I'm even thinking that, look, even if we just say, look, let us practice true federalism, that itself will be 80% of the problem solved.
And we were there before. We were there and we saw the progress that we made. You could imagine that when we had 3 regions, and which ultimately became 4 regions. Yes. Look at how the space between 1960 and 1966, how the northern region, built a university, a world-class university like Ahmadu Bello University, or are you talking about the University of Ife, which is now the Obafemi Awolowo University, or are you talking about the University of Ibadan, built by regions which are present-day state governments? They were able to harness the resources in those regions, and they built those world-class universities, and they operated a very high standard civil service in those regions.
There was a healthy rivalry,
and yes, to the progress of the people.
Yes. So, for anybody to think that system was bad, we can't go back to it, because we seem to have lost our way. And when you are embarking on a journey and you've missed your path, the right thing to do and the solution is not to keep on that, wrong path, but to make a U-turn and go back so you can retrace your steps and find your way. And I don't know why it's so difficult for Nigeria to just do that.
The Nigerians know that. Northern Nigerian leaders know that when you allow true federalism, when you allow states to have a greater say of how they govern their people, or how they manage their resources for the progress of their people, it will be better for all of us. Unfortunately, we are talking about the word cabal has earned a place in Nigeria's politics. So to the extent that we are talking about those Kabbalistic elements in northern Nigeria who certainly want power or want the status quo to remain, so that they can continue to mesmerize the Nigerian state with the northern population. However, we are not talking about a situation where this power configuration that favors the North actually translates to a better living standard for the people of the North. The North has become a big problem to the Nigerian project, yes, in terms of security, in terms of poverty, in terms of lack of education, in terms of lack of other basic infrastructure, especially in the areas of health. So why we are talking about a restructuring that will make even leaders from the North be more responsive and responsible to their people using the machinery of government.
No, if you do that restructuring, the Rank-Adede syndrome, in the North itself, that elitist control, will be seriously reduced in the North. So there is a lot that, the cabal, according to Aisha Buhari, who again confirmed to all Nigerians that a cabal is actually in control in Nigeria, to the point where even her husband, Muhammadu Buhari, was not in control of the country. So that cabal is, of course, firmly in control of happenings, with this government, happenings across the country. But whether we like it or not, as Adeboye and a lot of other Nigerians have said, if you do not restructure, and Atiku has said this as well, Atiku Abubakar has said this as well, it's better to, restructure in peace than to break up, in a lot of chaos and a lot of anarchy. So when people like the highly respected cleric, Enoch Adeboye, talks to power in Nigeria, I think they should take him very seriously, because apart from, being a man, of course, an academician, with a PhD in mathematics, is able to look at situation, do a lot of calculations and permutations to be able to tell us that, this is where we are heading to. Apart from all that, is a man of religion, a spiritual man, so has some insights into the future. And he's saying that, you don't even need a prophet. That's what he said. We don't need a prophet to tell you that if you don't restructure now, Nigeria will break up. So the government needs to take a very close look at that. The National Assembly, they need to, respond to the yearnings and aspirations of the Nigerian people. But leaving that, let's talk about the celebrations October 1st. Some Nigerians went to the streets in demonstration, revolution now, in different parts of Nigeria. Though it was not the kind of heavy crowd that you expected to see, but some Nigerians braved it and they came out to say, look, we are unhappy with our government. One of those demonstrations, Aisha Yusufu, co-convener of Bring Back Our Girls, did address the people who came out for the protest. Let's listen to her briefly.
We are citizens. We are not slaves. Yes. You walk around here, you see policemen and women with their guns. You see security agents with their guns. And I ask you, where are you when we are being kidnapped? Yes. Where are you when we are being killed? Where are you when Satan is pointing his fingers in our eyes? No Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian.
That's right. That's right.
Every one of us occupy the highest office in this land, and that is the office of the citizen.
Yes.
The president occupies the highest political office, so his office is less than our office. I am an employer of the president.
Aisha Yusufu of Bring Back Our Girls, and this time around she was on the streets of Abuja demonstrating and saying very clearly that this country is not working. As a matter of fact, things need to get better. Reiterating the fact, of course, that the president is nothing but an employee of all Nigerians. And we have employed him to protect us. We have employed him to make a better standard of living for all of us. And the president has no choice than to do those things for which we elected him, or if I may use the word of Aisha Yusufu, or which we employed him to do for us as Nigerians. But Frank, young men and women braved it to come out, in spite of the fact that the Inspector General of Police had, warned against, those demonstrations and all that. But people still came out.
There could be no better time to express discontentment with the way the Buhari presidency has failed certain expectations other than this time of 60th independence anniversary. Yes. I must commend Aisha Yusufu and her team, the rest of them, including Shore and Deji Adeyanju, and all of them who had that kind of courage to make that protest on that day. Many Nigerians have lost hope. They've also lost confidence and lost, belief in the efficacy of protest. They believe that protests will only give certain persons say in the media, but nothing gets done. The government does not listen. The people who take decisions are not influenced by what protesters anger or the things that they say. But it's quite encouraging to know that as few as they were still able to raise their voices. The world knows certain things are so obvious that you really don't require a protest to say them. Now, the Buhari presidency, they would say, the Buharists will say that they're doing their best. Gabashe will say they're doing their best. But the truth about it is that Nigerians are not saying their best. Nigerians still wallow in a very terrible state of insecurity across the length and breadth of the country.
Major issue.
And they still don't have confidence in the political process that it will bring leaders that will reflect the will of the people. There's still a great deal of uncertainty with regards to public expenditure, contract process, and the delivery of the dividends of democracy. So these things, looking back 60 years, and to think that we have not made progress to a point where our law enforcement agents indeed protect people and not violate their human rights as it has become the order of the day. People are afraid of the army, they are afraid of the police, they think that the system is against them and that the government, the law enforcement is just there to protect politicians and protect those who run government against the masses. Whereas unfortunately, it should have been that the government serves the people and is afraid of the people. Unfortunately, Nigerians have lost hope. So on the 60th independent anniversary, to hear that there are some people who still speak the frustration of the larger majority of Nigerians is a very encouraging thing indeed. I must commend them. It didn't matter whether the Inspector General of Police threatened them. They still came out, but they were quite few. It shows to you that Nigerians are really afraid and they're not willing to commit any form of dangerous activity in letting the world know that things are not working in this country.
A long time ago, Fela Anikulapo-Kuti, the Afrobeat musician, God bless his soul, told us as Nigerians that, we always find one reason to fear. I never buy a house. I never, born. I never marry. Oh, I just marry. I just born. I just buy a house. So there's always a reason not to take on the government of the day. As Nigerians, we must understand that true progress cannot come except people get out of their comfort zones and confront government. Like Aisha Yusuf said, yes, we employed them. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is occupying the highest political office, but he's not more Nigerian than every other Nigerian on the streets. And we all came together to decide that Muhammadu Buhari, please lead us. In that God-given assignment and Nigerian people-given assignment, we are always saying that he must do his best to move Nigeria forward. In closing, Frank, the presidential broadcast, President Muhammadu Buhari did say, of course, that the cost of petrol in Nigeria is still very, very okay. Let's listen to Buhari.
Petroleum prices in Nigeria are to be adjusted. We sell now at 161 naira per liter. A comparison with our neighbors will illustrate the point. A. Chad, which is an oil-producing country, charges 362 naira per liter. Saudi Arabia charges 168 naira per liter. It makes no sense for oil to be cheaper in Nigeria than in Saudi Arabia.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you heard the president there and that comparison, Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. But Frank, this argument that the president and his handlers are pushing to say that fuel is still very cheap, is probably the cheapest in the West African sub-region and all that, and making that comparison with Saudi Arabia. What the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria did not tell people is that the minimum wage in Saudi Arabia is about 300,000 naira. While that in Nigeria is about 30.
And we also forget something very important, that the international oil price is the same for every country in the world. So petrol actually can be the same price for every country in the world. But it's a deliberate economic strategy by various countries of the world to determine petroleum prices for their own people.
Their own citizens.
Yes, because by way of raising taxes. So if you see that Saudi Arabia is having that price, it's strategic. It has been, Saudi Arabia bought petrol from the international market, the same price that Nigerians bought it. But in Saudi Arabia, various taxes have been added. That price has been fixed for a particular economic strategy.
Yes.
And so we also realizing in this country that Nigerians lack a lot of basic social amenities, which ought to have fixed a more reasonable petroleum price rather than comparing itself with. In fact, it is possible to have petrol to sell at 80 naira if it indeed that's what goes in the international market. So it is not about Nigeria. Nigeria is failing to take up its responsibility in fixing a responsible and reasonable petroleum price. It cannot compare itself. There are other places in the United States where they fix it based on the number of taxes that they have decided to add to it
within that state.
Yes.
Anyway, the bottom line and the message to our president is that comparison was very, very flawed. We own crude oil, and we have refineries that are not working. Make these refineries work, get more modular refineries out there, and produce this thing locally for our local consumption. And then the price will not be at that very high level where it's becoming a burden to ordinary Nigerians to move from one place to another. Frank, I guess we've come to the end of Which Way Nigeria for today. We've talked about several issues, all considered as, determining factors on how we are going to move forward as a nation. And I think that, of course, the Nigerian people and the Nigerian government must continue to do their best to move Nigeria forward and make Nigeria truly, truly the giant of Africa. My name is Mahmoud Akuga, and Frank Titi, of course, have been with me discussing the way forward for Nigeria. Frank.
Always my pleasure. Thank you.
Same time next week, we'll be back here to talk more about our country. Bye-bye.
Which way to go? Oh, yeah. Yes, I want to know.